HP's Omen line of laptops are known for their sheer speed and graphics firepower. The latest Omen 17 is no different in that regard, as it comes with a powerful NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4080 GPU and an Intel Core i9-13900HX CPU. The refreshed core components from the new GPU, Ada Lovelace, and CPU generation, Raptor Lake, are the main differences to last year's Omen 17. The casing remains largely unchanged, however. It also sits in a black chassis with a plastic underside and a lid adorned with the Omen logo and lettering. The angular design gives the impression of pure power. While this laptop has a lot to offer, there are a few unimpressive aspects to it. Fingerprints on the lid and wrist rest are a nuisance after a short time. The lid also wobbles when you change the viewing angle, and the case has no ports on the back, making cable management difficult. That said, those are minor quibbles with an otherwise outstanding gaming laptop. The GeForce RTX 4080, NVIDIA's second-best mobile GPU from the Ada Lovelace generation, ensures speed in the HP Omen 17. It works with 7,424 CUDA cores and 12 GB GDDR6 graphics memory and can consume up to 175 watts with the help of Dynamic Boost. The turbo clock is 2010 MHz. Like an RTX 4090, it's integrated into the system with 16 PCIe 4 lanes, while the other Ada Lovelace GPUs can only utilize the bandwidth of PCIe 4 with 8 lanes. It's supported by the Intel Core i9-13900HX CPU. Like most manufacturers of high-end gaming laptops, HP relies on this processor with 24 cores and 32 threads, which are divided into 8 performance cores and 16 efficiency cores. Its intended power consumption in the Omen 17 is 130 watts, rising to 140 watts underload in the test. When it comes to speed, the Omen 17 is impressive in all respects. As for gaming performance, it's only beaten by significantly more expensive notebooks with an RTX 4090, while laptops with a Ryzen 9 7945HX perform better as far as system performance goes. In the 3D Mark x SPY, the HP Omen 17 is around 15% behind laptops with the RTX 4090, but almost 50% ahead of models with the RTX 4070. The HP notebook is also just behind the RTX 4090 group in other tests such as Speedway or the Port Royal ray tracing test, but very clearly ahead of the RTX 4070 models. Accordingly, most games do not cause the Omen 17 any problems in its native display resolution of 2560 by 1440. In Shadow of the Tomb Raider, for example, the bandwidth ranges from 169 frames per second in the high setting to 105 frames per second if you set all controls, including ray tracing, to ultra-high details. Dirt 5 also remains playable at 71 frames per second with ultra-high details and ray tracing shadows. Notebooks with an RTX 4090 deliver around 20 to 30 frames per second more in these games, and around 15 frames per second with ray tracing. But even here, the gap between the RTX 4080 and the mid-range RTX 4070 is considerable and is up to 50 to 60 frames per second. However, if you can do without the high resolution, you can get the same performance much cheaper. The current performance reference for gaming is Cyberpunk 2077. With the Omen HP 17, the game remains playable at 68 frames per second up to the ray tracing low setting. Higher graphics quality causes the frame rate to drop below 60 frames per second, with only 21 frames per second remaining in ray tracing overdrive. An RTX 4090 only manages a few frames more, meaning that higher settings are not playable even with the top GPU model. By way of comparison, with an RTX 4070 and 1440p, Cyberpunk 2077 is only good enough for medium graphics quality if you want to stay safely above 60 frames per second. The combination of RTX 4070 and FHD, on the other hand, delivers similar results to the Omen 17. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos.